Hello, it's Lois here. I'm going to be painting summer storms today over the parched countryside. And while I'm painting, I'm going to be giving you 5 really important tips or watercolour hacks, as they're sometimes called in this day and age, to really improve and progress with your loose watercolour painting. So let's get started. I always start off with a sketch. So that's my number 1 tip. Use a pencil and very lightly sketch in your scene. Keep it loose, don't worry about getting bogged down with detail, but make sure all your elements are in the right place before you get started. It really does provide a great roadmap for you to follow as you paint. And another really useful thing is, if you haven't seen my book already, Landscapes in Watercolour, Techniques and Tutorials for the Complete Beginner, this also contains everything you need to get you started with watercolour landscape painting, both pure watercolour and line and wash. There's a couple of links in the description below if you're interested in taking a look. Now let's get back to today's tips. Tip number 2 is perhaps, I think, in my opinion, the most important tip of all, and that is use big brushes for as much of the painting as you can. For landscape painting, big sweeps of colour will give you the best outcome for loose watercolour landscape painting. With practice, you'll be able to use minimal brush strokes to produce maximum effect and suggested detail, something and nothing as they call it. So big brushes are really important. They cover the paper really quickly with as fewer brush strokes as possible, and this way you avoid sort of little patchy unevenly drying washes, and you'll get beautiful loose skies with a bit of practice and building your confidence, so you know when to leave a sky alone and when it needs a little bit more work. Because I think the biggest problem I see with beginners is they use small brushes and their work is very sort of tight and not particularly confident, which of course we all start off that way. But using big brushes, especially for painting your skies, will give you the confidence and help you to paint some beautiful landscapes. So tip number 2, use big brushes. Now tip number 3, dip into different colours on the same brush and paint with that as if you were painting with just one colour, and you'll get multiple colours appearing almost randomly on the page, but obviously where you want them, and this straight away gives you beautiful effects, much looser than if you tried to paint with individual colours. And of course, I don't mean dip into multiple colours on one brush all the time. Sometimes it's appropriate to just use single colours. But for things like trees, foliage, fields, if you've got more than one colour on the brush, you'll find that you can build up your effects much more quickly and much more loosely. It's also useful having a selection of smaller brushes that you're comfortable using. I love this size 2 quill brush. I also like 3/4 inch flat brushes, small rigger brushes, that sort of thing. And this brings us nicely on to tip number 4, which is pay attention to value more than colour. Colour choices are very personal things, and that's something that beginners worry about, choosing the right colour. We'll try not to worry about that too much. Just get your colours in the right kind of ballpark area and learn which ones you like, learn how to mix different hues from different colours, and discovering the colours that you enjoy is something that you'll do as you continue on your watercolour journey. But what's most important to consider right from the start is the value of your colours. Tonal value and tonal contrast is what will give your paintings depth and form. If you'll notice that as soon as I put the perylene green onto those sap green and raw sienna trees, the shadow appeared and those trees came to life a lot more. And now I'm pulling out some light highlights where the sun is catching some of the branches. The values are popping even more. So tip number 4, pay attention to value more than colour. Let the colours take care of themselves. As you progress, you'll discover the colours that you like, and that'll be part of your individual style. I've laid the board flat and I've just added in some grasses and weeds and brambles into the foreground. I'm now going to sprinkle that damp paint with some ordinary fine ground table salt just to add a bit of texture. If you'll notice, I've left a band of unpainted paper between the distance and the middle ground hills and fields. Well, that's because I'm waiting for that to dry, because I want to put in my second plane of land once everything's dry. Just before it dries, I'm going to connect up the trees and the land using my rigger brush and a mixture of indigo and sepia. Just putting in a few trunks and branches here and there, working around the lighter highlights that I scraped out with my size 5 palette knife earlier. And I'm now going to leave this layer to dry completely and then come back and finish the painting off. Now the painting's fully dry, I've raised my board back up to about 20 degrees, which is my preferred angle for painting. I'm now going to use a nice light value straw colour from Raw Umber with a little bit of sap green and a little bit of raw sienna and my size 2 quill brush just to fill in that unpainted area going behind the trees. Then I need to leave that to dry. This is a clean dry brush. I'm using it just to brush off any undissolved salt crystals. They've given me some really pretty effects along with my multicoloured paint and the scraped textures that I put through with the palette knife. I'm now using my dark mixture that I used for the tree trunks and branches to paint in a little fence using my rigger brush. Just this hint of a fence works really nicely to draw the eye and to bring the painting together. It's a dark value that the eye is drawn to, and it helps to guide the eye around the painting. And then I'll move on to my group of trees and using the same colour strengthen up some of the tree trunks and branches and just extend a few of the branches out beyond the canopy for a nice bit of detail. And now that we're at the end of the painting, it's time to reveal the most important tip of all. Number 5, relax and have fun. Try not to expect to produce perfect results every time. When you're practicing a new skill, you're bound to make mistakes, but if you can relax into the mistakes and enjoy them and see them as part of the process of learning and moving and progressing with watercolour, then you will enjoy the process. It won't be so stressful. Put some lovely music on and just enjoy yourself and celebrate the mistakes as rites of passage, something that will teach you how to move on and progress with your loose watercolour painting. Well, I hope these 5 watercolour tips have been helpful for you. Let me know what you think in the comments and if you've got any tips that you can share with viewers that you think might be helpful to them. Many thanks for watching. Please click on the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video or found it helpful. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, then I'd invite you to do so. It's free to do and it really does help with our reach. And many thanks to all of our supporters on Patreon. We couldn't run this free to view channel without you, and we really do appreciate each and every one of you. I'll see you again soon. Take care and happy painting. Bye.